trans seniors. Now, wait a second, you may wonder, as you sit down with your family to celebrate the joy of transgenderism on Transgender Appreciation Day, how many trans seniors are there in this country? No offense, but the trans thing seems pretty new. And if it's not new, how come no one had ever heard of it before, say, 4 years ago? And is securing trans rights really the biggest problem that old people in America now face? Well, don't ask, because asking is violence. And as you just heard, if there's one thing that trans people don't need more of, it's violence. As Joe Biden just told us, there is a, quote, epidemic of violence against transgender women of color in America. There is? We didn't know that. We keep track. We never heard that. We know there's an epidemic of murder in Baltimore. Hundreds and hundreds of people died just last year. But anti-trans violence is a new concept. So we went dutifully to the numbers and we checked. And here they are. According to the activist group, the Human Rights Campaign, which probably isn't skimping on the number, in 2018, there were a total of 26 transgender Americans of all colors who were killed. Around the same time, a group called the Williams Institute estimated there were a total of about 1.4 million Americans who identified as transgender. So you put those numbers together in a simple equation, and you find that the murder rate for transgendered people that year was 1.8 per 100,000. Okay. By contrast, the murder rate for the entire American population that year was 4.9 murders per 100,000. So actually, contra Joe Biden, you were a lot better off being trans than being not. Being trans was definitely a lot safer than living in Baltimore. You may not have known that. In fact, doubtless you did not know that. Joe Biden didn't mention it today because, in fact, no matter what they tell you, the people of Baltimore don't have a place in the equity agenda. And that's why you don't see them on MSNBC. They don't teach at Princeton. They're not technically oppressed, unlike doctors at, say, Wake Forest School of Medicine. They're oppressed. This week, an oppressed student doctor at Wake Forest called Cashel DeRosio tweeted about stabbing a patient who dared to mock her preferred pronoun. So in the name of trans rights, she stabbed him. She tweeted this, quote, "I had a patient I was doing a blood draw on, see my pronoun pin, and laugh loudly to the staff," Del Rosario wrote. "I missed his vein, so he had to get stuck twice. Just stabbed him." Then another student at Wake Forest Medical School, a future doctor, this one called Yuen Liu.
These people are fucking lunatics.
Karma for the patient who was
I
stabbed.
have a associate's degree as a medical assistant, and somebody doing that is unfucking believable. It would be fired on the spot.
Rights or something like that, their pronouns. So we wanted to know what Wake Forest Medical School had to say about this. So we reached out to them. We've done it all week.
They won't answer.
Who got stabbed? What's the name of the victim?
Yes.
We also want to know if these two students are going to be expelled or
exactly.
will be treating you at the free clinic soon. Doctors aren't supposed to assault their patients under any circumstances, particularly over a medical disagreement. But the dean's office at Wake Forest appears to have taken the phone off the hook. They're not answering our calls.
Exactly.
Finally, after 2 days of hounding, the medical school's publicist told us that one of the students is taking a leave of absence, but also that, quote, "all of our procedures were followed while caring for this patient."
Oh, right. What a freaking... She really lied you right to your face.
She stabbed him. In other words, Wake Forest Medical School doesn't
is
care
a joke.
that its future doctors are boasting
Are
about
fucking
stabbing
morons.
opponents.
Unbelievable.
Procedures at Wake Forest Medical
That should
School.
tell you all.
Obviously, this will not be a big story. It's maybe the last time you ever hear of it. It'll blow over.
That shows you how
ordinary. Like most medical schools,
indoctrinated, corrupted our whole school system is.
They've trained their doctors to view political dissent as violent. Respect my pronouns or I will stab you.
Exactly.
And now these medical schools are covering for physicians who commit malpractice, who commit violence in the name of equity.
Exactly.
Obviously, this is lawlessness, but instead of doing anything about it, instead of protecting you, the patient, our leaders are finding new ways to tell you that you deserve your punishment.
Exactly.
So to that end, the Biden administration has just signed a new anti-lynching law. Anti-lynching? What century is this? Will it help people in Baltimore?
No.
That's not the point. Here's the point. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris explain.
Racial hate isn't an old problem. It's a persistent problem. A persistent problem.
They just want to keep this going forever. Just keep beating a dead horse. People are so sick of this racial shit. I live in South Central and it's not here, so I don't know what he's talking about.
To do unfinished business. To acknowledge the horror in this part of our history. to state unequivocally
She's such a
that lynching
moron.
is and has
Every
always
night
been
Joe
a hate
Biden
crime.
goes to sleep.
And to make
When she
clear
gets up in the
that
morning,
the federal government
she looks over at her
may
husband and she goes,
prosecute
Is
these
that
crimes
old
as
goat
such.
dead yet? Is that white
Lynching
goat dead?
is not a relic of the past.
You know, she's just praying Joe Biden dies.
Lynching is wrong.
It's the only way she'll
I have
ever
no
be
idea.
president is
You know
if
about
Joe
the
Biden
lynchings going
dies.
on in the United States?
That's fucking
Probably
hilarious.
through the,
She is a
drive-by
moron.
shootings in Baltimore or
Kamala
Detroit or
Harris, what
Gary,
a
Indiana,
joke.
big city to
She's
do
a
it.
disgrace to her own
Definitely
race, is what
What's the
she
federal
is.
response to those?